Hey guys, Merry Christmas. Today I'm going to be reviewing the movie from 1990, Home Alone, perhaps the greatest Christmas movie of all time next to its sequel, Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, which I'll review sometime in the future. The movie starts off in a Winnetka home where the McAllister family is preparing for a trip to Paris. The family are pretty much rushing to get everything packed. I mean, why wouldn't you when there's like 15 people in your house? Anyway, at dinner, Buzz, played by Devin Ratray, eats all the cheese pizza, causing his younger brother, the protagonist of the movie, Kevin, played by Macaulay Culkin, to go into outrage, causing a mess at the dinner table. His mother, Kate, played by Catherine O'Hara, berates him and sends him upstairs. The two get into a small argument, which ends with Kevin quipping that he doesn't want to see his family again. The next morning, the family are rushing to get to the airport on time, missing one key person. Shortly after, Kevin rises from his attic and investigates the house, seeing that it's empty. When he realizes he got his wish, he starts doing some wacky shit. Stuff I wouldn't even get away with. Meanwhile, Peter, Kevin's father, played by John Hurt, and Kate are questioning on what they forgot. Seriously? You don't even notice that a single person is gone. Finally, Kate's the one who realizes first. Finally, it took someone to realize.
Kevin!
Meanwhile, a pair of robbers, Marv, played by Daniel Stern, and Harry, played by Joe Pesci, are planning to rob a few houses down the street. When they go to the McAllister's house, they plan to go down the basement, forcing Kevin to turn on the light in said basement, disinteresting them. Terrified, Kevin hides under his parents' bed. When he realizes he can't be whipped, he goes outside, where Old Man Marley, a man that his brother scared him about in old horror stories, played by Robert Blossom, comes out, terrifying the crap out of him. Meanwhile, Kate calls the family's local police department, who sends one of their officers out, but Kevin doesn't respond. He leaves, angered that his time was wasted. Worried about Kevin, Kate decides to go back on a trip to the United States while the rest of her family stay in Paris. Meanwhile, Kevin starts doing some weird stuff like shaving, going through his brother's room, shopping, escaping the cops, and a lot of other stuff. It's pretty funny. That night, Kevin throws a fake house party when Harry and Marv happen to drive by. They are disinterested after seeing the party. The next day, he also fools a pizza man for good measure. The next day, he goes out shopping, does laundry, and does a whole bunch of other chores. The next day, when Harry and Marv are trying to rob the house, Marv goes by, and Kevin sets some firecrackers. He plays a prank by playing the same movie he pranked the pizza guy with, Angels with Filthy Souls, which is a movie within a movie. This scares Marv enough to flee and run back in the car. Meanwhile, an exhausted Kate, who has traveled through over 3 plane rides, tries to get another one to Chicago. Unfortunately, according to the plane run, I don't know who runs that stuff, but he says there aren't any planes running, causing her to go into a rage until Gus Polinski, played by the late John Candy, the king of polka, offers her a ride to Chicago on their way to Milwaukee because, Chicago is on the way to Milwaukee. That night, Kevin goes to church and, hey, I recognize that intersection from anywhere. It's 11th Avenue and Lake in Wilmette. Anyways, Kevin goes inside the church where he encounters Old Man Marley. He's initially petrified, but Old Man Marley comes to sit next to him, and the two share their backgrounds and give advice to each other. Then, realizing that Marv and Harry are going to rob their house after overhearing their conversation earlier in the film, he dashes home and sets up homemade traps. When Marv and Harry arrive at the McAllister house, they are, in order, shot in the balls, shot in the head, slip off the stairs, slip down the stairs, slip off the stairs again, hit in the face with an iron, burning one's hand, stepping on a nail, my personal favorite, for all the wrong reasons, getting his hair singed off by a blowtorch, getting feathers glued onto his face, and stepping on sharp Christmas ornaments. Apparently, Daniel Stern did the stunt himself. So the pain you see in this movie is actually real. Ouch. I'd be in pain too if I'd be stepping on sharp Christmas ornaments. They then slip on toy cars, get hit in the face with paint cans, one trips on a tripwire, the other gets a tarantula on his face. Daniel Stern's reaction was real, by the way. And when Kevin goes on a zip line, the two criminals go after him on the zip line, but Kevin cuts the rope with gardening shears, causing both of them to crash into the wall, badly wounding them. When Kevin escapes to a neighbor's house, Kevin goes through the basement while the criminals go through the front, and they hang him on a hook, and Harry tries to bite off Kevin's fingers. Fortunately, Old Man Marley arrives just in time and knocks the criminals out. Shortly after, the police arrive, arrest the criminals, and Kevin goes home and sets the house up for Christmas, reuniting with his family the next morning. Overall, what can I really say about this movie? It's a timeless classic that deserves to be seen at least once. Overall, I'd rate this movie a 10 out of 10. Since y'all like Saturday's review, today I'm reviewing the sequel, Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. And before you ask, no, I'm not going to be reviewing any of the sequels. The movie starts off where, once again, the family are starting to pack. Not only for their trip this time to Miami, but also for a recital. When they go to a recital later that night, Kevin and Buzz, once again played by Macaulay Culkin and Devin Ratchet respectively, are fighting after Buzz played a prank on him, causing Kevin to punch him, pushing everyone over. When the family return home, Buzz fakes his apology, which everyone believes. When it's Kevin's turn, he doesn't apologize, even roasting his Uncle Frank.
Better not wreck my trip, you little sourpuss. Your dad's paying good money for it.
Oh, wouldn't want to spoil your fun, Mr. Cheapskate.
Unfortunately, this gets him sent up to his room. When they awake the following morning, they rush outside like usual, except Kevin actually comes along this time. When they get to the airport, Kevin asks his dad for batteries for his Talkboy recorder, which, fun fact, was only a prop for this movie, but actually became a real thing after this movie was released. He lets him out of the batteries, unintentionally leaving him behind. When Kevin finishes securing the batteries, he confuses the man for his dad and starts following him. When he arrives at the wrong place, he goes to a clerk to ask where he is. When she replies New York, let's just say he gets in some more mischief and goes sightseeing. After finished sightseeing, he goes to the Plaza Hotel. I've actually came across that spot twice. And goes to check in with his father's credit card. He uses his Talkboy receiver to pose as his father to check in before lying to the clerk that he's actually dropped off, which we all know is fake, and she seems to buy it, and he goes to his room. The next morning, Kevin is taken to Duncan's toy chest, where he grabs 2 turtle doves to give to a friend, and buys some other stuff. As he exits the store shortly after, Harry, once again played by Joe Pesci, and Marv, once again played by Daniel Stern, come up behind him, but he manages to flee while Harry and Marv are in pursuit. Kevin grabs some pearls and slips them onto the sidewalk before Harry and Marv slip on them. Kevin uses his opportunity to escape, but unfortunately once he gets back to the plaza, the concierge of the hotel, Tim Curry himself, greets him with a smirk and confronts him about the stolen credit card. Hijinks ensues, with Kevin escaping through the elevator. When the staff finally catch up to him in his room, he uses the movie that he watched last night, Angels with Even Filthier Souls, a sequel to Angels with Filthy Souls, to trick him. Unfortunately for Kevin, Harry and Marv are waiting right outside for him and walk a little ways. When they were crossing the street, Kevin touches a woman's butt, and the woman believes Harry and Marv did it, so she punches them. When Harry and Marv recover, they chase after Kevin, who hides in a carriage while there's a bunch of other kids wearing similar hats. That night, Kevin runs into Central Park, where he gets his foot stuck in between 2 rocks. He then sees a pigeon lady and starts screaming like crazy, but fortunately for him, the pigeon lady frees him from the rock. The two then start listening to music at a symphony, where Kevin and the pigeon lady start talking about their life experience and all that stuff. Then, realizing that Harry and Marv are going to rob Duncan's toy chest, he leaves and sets some traps at his abandoned uncle and aunt's house. He heads to Duncan's toy chest, the traps, in order. Then, in order, Harry gets seesawed onto a car Marv gets hit with not one, not two, not three, but 4 bricks. Gets stapled in his a-hole, in the groin, in the face. Harry slips off some soap. Marv falls off a few stories. Harry gets hit with wrenches. Marv slips off some soap, slides into a nearby shelf, and gets crushed with it, getting paint cans all over him. Gets electrocuted trying to wash all the paint off. Harry burns his head once again and dunks in a kerosene-filled toilet. Marv gets 100 tons of flour on his face. Harry falls off the ladder. Both Harry and Marv get hit and crushed with a pipe. Both get crushed by a tool's chest. And both fall off a kerosene-filled rope trying to descend it. And finally, both get covered in varnish. Kevin manages to escape, but unfortunately slips on ice, and Harry and Marv, now recovered, take him to the middle of the park where they try to shoot him. Unfortunately for them, the pigeon lady arrives and dunks birdseed on them before Kevin sets some fireworks on where Harry and Marv are, allowing them to be arrested. Meanwhile, the McAllister family, now knowing of Kevin's whereabouts, reunite with Kevin, and the next morning they open presents before Kevin sneaks off from the rest of the party and gives the pigeon lady a turtle dove. Overall, you know what? I'm just going to skip the bullshit. 10 out of 10. Go check it out.